Chanjo Bardo Nani Japaji Daye Chushe Yebe Sanam Ki Rala Benjere Sangi Jo Parajo Mandala. Oh yeah. Zai Shibe Joy Jin Mendo Tamai Rabai Yende Ainge Pai Tainge Aijin Koi Niwe Dei Miwe Wa Joy Gen Namai Aijin Jumbo Ida Manguru Rana Mandala Kameya Daya Mi. Yep. Tashidile, good morning or good evening. Audio is okay?
Yes, Rinpoche.
So, greetings to everyone. So, so I think there was some questions from last week which we will cover. So what we are going to today, this week is the topic of today's session is there are actually quite a few number. Unlike our usual classes, which is 10 points or 10 lessons. So today's session has actually 18 lessons. And so what we will do is we will divide them into two. So after the first 8 lessons, we will take a break, or we will take questions from the audience. So you can either ask questions directly through the Blue Jeans medium, or since this is also broadcasted live on Facebook, you can ask. You can post the questions there, and so our moderators will pick up the questions, and then. So now, before we begin, as it's crucial that we have to set our motivation right. In Tibetan, we call it shaping motivation. So it is important. There are so many reasons why we are doing this Dharma practice, today's Dharma session, right? So it can be, in order to get out of samsara. It can be in order to get out of some worldly suffering or miseries, so there are many different reasons why we are doing Dharma practice. And so as long as you are doing Dharma practice, it is a very good action. And to take the maximum sort of benefit from doing such a good action, one needs to have the proper motivation. So we have this thing called Tokta Parsum, the beginning, the medium, and then the end. So beginning, good motivation, in the middle, good action or good application, and in the end, good dedication. So proper motivation, proper motivation, proper application, and proper dedication. So when these three are combined, then you can take the maximum benefit of whatever action that you are involved with. Otherwise, of course, doing Dharma practice, any Dharma practices, is wonderful to do Dharma practice. It's virtuous, it's beneficial. But if you do it with the 3 points, then it will be of much more. You will be able to take the maximum benefit of what it is about. Able to provide. So therefore, the first is to set the motivation, as we all know. So there may be many reasons as why we are, each individual, each one of you, for coming to listen to this Dharma practice. So big or small, let's leave that all aside. Now think of, we are all living in samsara, and we know that one way or another, samsara leads up to suffering, misery. So therefore, it is something that we want to get out of. And even if we get out of samsara, if our loved ones are still stuck in samsara, we do not want that to happen, right? So we want to get all the people that we love also out of samsara. Now, when we talk about what the people we love, we can think of the people that we love in this lifetime, but that is quite temporary. The people whom we deem to be our loved ones in this lifetime has been our loved ones or close one for maybe 10, 20, 40 years, or maybe 60, 80 years. Nothing more than that. In our previous lives, some of those people whom we love have been our enemies, have been our worst enemies, have harmed us, have killed us. And somehow through the twisted connection of karma, we were born as their parents, or we were born as their children, or we were deemed or doomed to be their parents, or whatever. And in this lifetime, we see them as our loved ones, our husbands, our kids, our parents, and we love them. So therefore, loved ones, close people whom you are close with, or people whom you are distant with, in other words, people you like and people you do not like, is temporary. It is not everlasting. And therefore, everyone, all sentient beings, no matter what, whether the people who harm you or whether the people who benefit you, who are good to you or who are bad to you, everyone is doing it for a good reason. I mean, from their own perspective. The good reason is that from doing this action, there will be happiness, there will be good things, either for themselves or to the people whom, in their close circle. So the basic rule here is that everyone is doing it for happiness. So just like yourself, who is seeking happiness, who is seeking to escape samsara, who is seeking to get out of the misery, all sentient beings are just like that. And so therefore, we, just like the desire that we have to get out of samsara, all sentient beings have the same. Whether they can put that into, whether they can describe it in such a way or not, that is another matter. But everyone has that desire to be out of samsara, to be out of misery. I don't know, everyone can call it samsara, but everyone wants to be out of misery. So therefore, we have to set the motivation that whatever action we are doing, especially the Dharma practice, the Dharma session that we are conducting today, is for the benefit of alleviating the suffering of all sentient beings, taking all sentient beings from the state of non-enlightened samsaric state of misery to the enlightened, perfect Buddhahood, omniscient Buddhahood. So that should be the goal. And when you have that motivation set in, then whatever little action you do, if you recite one mantra, single mantra, or maybe you just go for one, you know, you just open up a book, you open up your computer, you open up your computer to watch a short video clip. But if you do it with the motivation to help someone, especially to, I will watch this movie, I will watch this little clip, so that from whatever happiness that I derive, whatever good thing that I derive from this watching, by engaging in this action, may I be able to help, may I be influenced to help sentient beings. So such like that. So if you do it with a proper motivation, then whatever action you may do, action may be seemingly negative, but it is actually productive in the spiritual sense, especially in the Mahayana sense. So therefore, as the prayer that we just did, Sangye Chodang Soge Chonala, right? We take refuge to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha and then engage in the Dharma activities for the sake of attaining enlightenment, for the sake of all sentient beings.
Oh, yeah. So now begin today's Dhamma session. So it is known as the 18. So I think the translation here says 18 prohibitions of the Dharma practitioner. So it's more or less likely in Tibetan, Chöpe Tsang Jokye. Tsang is more or less weakness or a flaw, So this can also be understood as an embarrassment. So let's say let's use instead of prohibition, let's use embarrassment here. So 18 embarrassments, right? 18 failures, 18 flaws, 18 embarrassment of a practitioner. So here, when we say practitioner, we are talking about a Dharma practitioner, spiritual practitioner. So a spiritual practitioner is someone who is trying to develop his spirit, who is trying to develop his mental state, who is trying to achieve mental stability for good, for forever, mental stability forever. We can have mental stability for a few moments, but then we lose it. So that infinite mental stability, that is called the Buddhahood. So perfection of our mind, taking our mind to its pinnacle, to the maximum point that it can reach. So that is the spiritual practice that we are talking about. In order to do that, so the following 18 points are seen as embarrassment or failures or flaws of a practitioner in that path. So the first one of which is so that is the you are living in isolation. In other words, you are living as a hermit. You are living in a monastery. Maybe you are living in a retreat. Maybe your body is in the retreat place, right? But even when you are in the retreat place, your mind is still not free from engaging in worldly things. Oh, okay. After I come out of the retreat, people will respect me more because I have done 3 years retreat, or 12-year retreat, whatever. Or I have been such a good practitioner, so people will say praise me. Then eventually they will give me money. They will hold me in high regard, so on and so forth. So there is this, I will be famous, So these things, your body is in isolation, but your mind is not. Your mind is wandering. So I'm saying you, but actually I should say me, because this book is like all the Dharma books are like mirror anyways, and especially this particular section here, the 18 embarrassment of a Dharma practitioner. So those who deem themselves, those who call ourselves Dharma practitioner, so this is more to me than you. So someone like me, supposedly I'm staying in the monastery and some sort of isolation here, but my mind is wandering all over and thinking of so many different things. So in that sense, my mind and my body are not in sync, not in alignment. So there is the disharmony between where my mind is and where my body is. So whenever that thing happens, when there is disharmony between misalignment or disharmony between where your mind is and where your body is, when your body and mind are not in sync, but out of sync, then there will be, in general life, there will be, if your mind is somewhere else and your body is somewhere else, then you will suffer in general. And especially if you are a Dharma practitioner, then this is such a big embarrassment. If you are supposedly in a meditative cave or isolation in a monastery or whatever, my mind should also be there, sitting, meditating. My body sitting in a meditative posture, and my mind wandering outside in the market, and that is an embarrassment for a practitioner. No. Now, this is that is the general outline, the first lesson. Now we go into the specifics. So the specifics are such as becoming the mass leader, or in other words, becoming the leader of a sangha, such as a guru or whatever. So this is, more to people like me, people who have some sort of some title, and then supposedly leading people. So, okay. So in this position as a Rinpoche or as as a guru, as a teacher, so if I use this position, if I misuse this position to fulfill my own selfish goals, then this is an embarrassment for me. So people will not know what so this is very much talking to myself, people will not know what my motivations are. You do not know when I came up this morning whether I have good motivation or bad motivation. Only I know whether I have a good motivation or bad motivation. So whatever Dharma practices we are doing, only we know what the motivations are. So if we are doing it with improper motivation, becoming a mass leader, becoming the teacher, becoming leader of a sangha, becoming holding position in order to fulfill one's own goal, then this is not in sync with the Dharma, and that is an embarrassment for someone who is in the spiritual path. Again, so all the following, I think this is more the 18 embarrassments. So this is more talking towards myself than others. So again, the next one. So, becoming a mass leader to fulfill one's own selfish goals, right? So how you do that? By fooling people, by cheating people, by misusing your position, and so on and so forth. So in this case, in that case, whatever knowledge that you may have as a mass leader, so you do not become mass leader by automatically. You do not become a mass leader automatically. You do not become a sangha automatically. You become a sangha leader because people think that you have some knowledge because you have been in the monastery for so many years, or maybe people think that you are a senior. You have some knowledge at least, and because of that knowledge, people put you in the position of a leader, a teacher, a guru, so on and so forth. And when you misuse that position, then whatever knowledge that you have of the Dharma, which is to refrain from negative deeds, and gather as much good deeds as you can. So you are actually contradicting the very direct guidelines of the Buddha. Not commit any unwholesome deed, gather a wealth of virtue. That is the Buddha's teaching, right? So you are doing something that is in direct contradiction with what the Buddha taught. So therefore, this is an embarrassment for me, for a Dharma practitioner. Now the next is Dhamma Chela Rangyu Tamye de Lubani Churesang. So following the previous lessons, you have a lot of instructions. In other words, you are very knowledgeable in the Dharma, but your mind has not changed, your mental behavior, and so therefore your physical behavior as well has not changed at all. You have been angry as before, you have been jealous as before, you have been, attachment is there as well. So all the negativities that were there before you have gathered those knowledges, Dharma spiritual knowledges, are still remaining same. Nothing has changed internally. Only externally things have changed. You are able to speak better, you are able to talk better, but you are not able to apply what you are talking within yourself better. So this is such a shameful thing. This is such an embarrassment for a Dharma practitioner. So this is the number 4, rich with instructions, but no change in the mental continuum. That is an embarrassment. There's a story regarding that. So there was one elderly monk. Usually when he's a graduate from long time back, but sometimes when we go to the debate courtyard for our class, he would join us as a young. He's elderly monk, but he would join us just like we do. So that monk. So he would carry when we go to the debate courtyard, we usually carry our mat, right? So because it's all cement there. So we carry the mat and then we will go to the debate yard. And so sometimes he would join us. And so he would jokingly tell us that, so we asked him, Master, where you are going? So he's not our teacher, but he's much more senior to us. So we say Master. We call all our seniors masters. So we ask him, Master, where you are going? And he would say like, oh, I'm going to put water onto my cement, cement. So when you put water on cement, it becomes hard, right? You put water on the cement, you pour water on the cement, and then you leave it for days, and then you pour more and more water, then it becomes harder and harder. So what he is telling us is that those people like us who are going to the debate courtyard to learn, to study the Dharma, we are actually cementing our ego. All the Dharma knowledge that we supposedly get, we use that to fuel our ego, to harden our ego, to harden our pride. And so he's hinting at us that is what we are doing. He wouldn't say it directly. He would say, oh, I'm going to water my cement block. Okay. Now the next one, number 5 is Tsujim Tsunla Doba Chawani Chubetsang. So you are observing the moral conduct thoroughly, supposedly, and but still you're highly ambitious, or maybe you have Doba is desire. You are high in desire. Your desire has not been curbed. So maybe you are not desiring, you may not have, as a monk, you may or may not have carnal desire, but you have ambition to become, I want to become the abbot, the director of this monastery, this institution, and so that desire is a form of attachment, form of craving. And if you, after learning and supposedly applying the monastic conducts, the monastic discipline, by monastic discipline, I mean the monastic, the vows and so on and so forth. So which are meant to curb your desire and other things. And if these things, instead of being able to curb your desire, if you become more desirable, so seemingly from outside, right, from looking externally, you seem to be very gentle, very subtle. You do not want any, gold, silver, or big house, or you're not interested in women. So you seemingly from outside, you look very good monk, but inside you have the desire to maybe become the director of, a big institution and so on and so forth. You have big desire, you have very ambition, very selfish ambitions, to desire for world peace, or to have, to get rid of suffering in the world. That is a good thing. if you have selfish desire as to, oh, I want to get that high position, I want to get rid of that monk and become the owner of this monastery and that thing like. So in that case, then whatever discipline, monastic discipline that you have learned has become of no use to you. Instead, it has become sort of a hurdle. It becomes a hindrance for your goal, your selfish goal, obviously. And so therefore, this is something embarrassing for a practitioner. After this, we have Nyamdo Sangla Rangyu Matyu Wani Chepe Tsang. So you have very good spiritual experiences. But you are still unable to subdue your mind, control your mind. Okay, so what are we talking about here? We can go into more detail about this later. So basically, what it's saying is you have very good spiritual experiences. Meaning, for example, if you are doing tantric practices, you have very good visions. You are visualizing the deity, right? Buddha Shakyamuni or Amitabha Buddha or Chenrezig, Avalokiteshvara, Tara, or whatever deity you are visualizing. So you have been very good at doing the rituals of visualizing. So therefore, your visions are very clear. It is no longer imaginary vision. When you visualize the deities, it becomes so clear as if the deities are rightfully there in front of you. And there are people, there are sadly, unfortunately, there are practitioners who have such great visions, but at the same time have not been able to subdue their mind. And therefore, when you learn and put into application the rituals of the tantric rituals, you can achieve a lot of things. And they use these once they have the realization, not spiritual realization, not realization of the truth, but realization, what we call mundane realizations. So you have realization of the being able to see the deity directly, and then you use that opportunity for your own selfish ambitions. So you use those ritual in the tantra. So what I'm talking about is some, let's say, black magic for one instance, or or amass wealth for yourself, or to put harm upon others. So this can be done, and when you do your rituals properly, thoroughly, you will be able to achieve these goals. And if you use those things to achieve those goals, then what you have done is you as a practitioner, you are an embarrassment. But maybe as a some other in some other field, you may be doing very well. You may be earning a lot of money, making lots of money, and maybe you're becoming famous, popular, fearsome, whatever. But you are not a spiritual practitioner at all. So as a spiritual practitioner, if you are unable to subdue your mind, then all these so-called spiritual experiences, right? You have a good vision, you have a good dream, you have a good understanding of emptiness or whatever. If any of these little things, or all these qualities, if they are not able to help to subdue your mind, to control your mind, then as a spiritual practitioner, this is an embarrassment for you. Point number 7 deals with the fact that after having entered the monastic life, if your behavior, if your physical behavior, which is a manifestation of what your mental behavior is, if that has not changed, in other words, if you are lacking in basic human goodness, then whatever you have learned in the monastic monastery or in the Dharma center, whatever, has been of no use to you. So I used to say that to become a Dharma practitioner, you have to become a good Dharma practitioner, you have to become a good human being first. in order to become a good human being, you do not have to be a Dharma practitioner. But in order to become a Dharma practitioner, especially a good Dharma practitioner, it's highly imperative to become a good person, good human being. If you cannot have the basic, if you do not know, if you do not have the basic human good habits, good behavior, you do not know how to speak properly to people, how to take care of, if you do not know how to care worse off than you, then if you say, oh, let's talk about emptiness, let's talk about Vajrayana, these things, it's of no use. It has no effect on your mental state. It is like pouring water on stone, we say. If you pour water on the rock or stone, nothing comes out of it. If you pour water on a fertile ground, then there will be flowers, grass, anything can come out of it. So if your mind is dry, infertile, if your mind remain infertile, then the Dharma practice, supposedly, whatever high knowledge you talk about, high Dharma you talk about, Vajrayana, this or that, no use. So this is the point number 7. Oh yeah. So then, okay. So this is again for people like us. So after leaving the household life, after entering the monastic life, or after giving yourself into the Dharma practices, if you are still unable to let go of the worldly life, then you are being an embarrassment to the spiritual path, spiritual practices. In other words, you are not properly putting into practices spiritual. You are not putting the Dharma into proper practices if you are not able to give up on worldly life. So maybe you will ask questions regarding this later. So giving up worldly life doesn't mean you leave everything and then you just run off, right? Buddha Shakyamuni left his home, but he came back, right? He came back. He didn't come back to the palace to live in the palace, but he came back for the world to teach and to engage. So giving up worldly life doesn't necessarily mean you leave everything, you leave your family, children and everything, and you leave your office work, you do not do anything, you just run to the forest and then never come back. That is not the point. And for certain people, that is the point. If you maybe for starter, you want to start like that, remain in the monastery, remain in the forest, remain in the mountains for a year, 2, 3, and then eventually you come back and then you serve the people. You serve the people that you love, people that you are close with. When Buddha got enlightened, he came back and taught his father, and he also taught his son. He taught his mother, not his real mother, his real mother passed away, but his substitute mother, surrogate mother. He taught his surrogate mother, and she became a nun, right? So like that, you have to come back. So it doesn't mean when you say give up, leave everything. But when you say give up, we do not say leave, we say give up. So what is a give up? Give up is normally when we, let's say we tell people when someone is losing hope, we say, don't give up, right? It doesn't mean that person is actually not doing this. Someone is maybe doing this, but thinking of leaving it all and then, this is something that I cannot do. I should leave this now. That is called give up. When you lose hope, when you have hope is a sort of attachment, not necessarily, but it's a form of attachment. It can be good or bad for hope. Attachment is a form of hope. And so you are hoping that this will be yours forever. You hope that this will be something that you do not have, a big car, a big house, something that you do not have at this moment. You want to have it. You hope to have that thing. So in that sense, you have that, you are not giving up on it. So when someone tells you, okay, this is something you cannot do, you cannot buy this house at all, you do not have the money, so just let it go. Then you give up, right? You have not even bought the house. You think of buying the house, and then you didn't buy the house. You didn't even give the money, you didn't even save the money. You just think of buying a house, and then someone tells you you cannot buy the house, and then you give up. So giving up is letting it go from the mind. Doesn't necessarily mean you leave everything physically right now, and then leave your family, leave your that is not the case. So maybe we will talk about this later when you have questions. And let's cover the point number 9 too. It's something similar. After comprehending the meaning of the Dharma, point number 9, after having the knowledge, and still, if you do not put it into practice, then it's of no use, right? I think we covered that last week. It's like the patient carrying a bag of medicine but not taking them. Then if you have a bag full of medicine but do not take the medicine, it will not help you. So point number 9 is knowing pretty well what Dharma is, not to practice it as a prohibition, is an embarrassment, right? So point number 9 is in the same line as the previous one. So let's cover that as well. Okay. So we are halfway there. Let's take in some questions. Do we have? I think we have some leftover questions from last week. Miss Yen, are you there?
Yes, Rinpoche. We do have a question from last week, and we have one question today so far. I'll read them.
Okay. So yes, please. Can you read the last week's question first? So we will read. Yeah, we will take some.
Yes, Rinpoche. So the last week's question, question number 1, prostrate to Rinpoche. Can you please explain more about number 12? We are on the long way of instruction study, but due to the lack of real life experience. So how can we find out another key how we should do in this point? Thank you, Rinpoche. And would you like me to read the number 12 for last week as well?
Please. No, I think I have got it here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe people would like to hear what the number 12 is all about.
Oh, please. Yeah, please.
So the number 12 says that the rich instructions are worthless if not translated into real life, just like the lost key to the treasury of a rich person. So life is useless. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So this is in regards to, okay. These topic and today's topic are very similar, lots of similarities there. So what it's actually talking about is you are very knowledgeable, right? So you are in the rich man's treasury. So you have in the rich man's treasury there is lots of wealth, gold, silver, whatever. So you are rich in instructions. You are rich with the wealth, but at the same time you do not have the key, right? You do not have the key to open the treasury. So all this, it's like you have so many. You have it's like forgetting your password to you have a large information that is worth millions, but you forget the of the database in which you have stored that information in today's terms. So what's happening here is that you should have taken note of the password, right? You should have written down the password. You should have kept the keys very safely. So what happens here is you have a lot of Dharma knowledge, but you have never. So what this is telling us is that you have lots of knowledge because you read lots of books. So you know a lot of things. You can explain everything. But since you have not put these things into practices, if you have not put into practices, then you do not know how to apply it yourself. It's like I can read about how to ride a bike, how to ride a motorcycle. I can watch a YouTube or whatever, do anything like that. So I can study how to ride a motorbike for a week, for a year. I know I can explain to everyone how to, I can explain very well, very thoroughly how to ride a bike to everybody. But if I've never rode a bike before, right? I can explain how to ride a bike to everyone because I have learned it for 1 year. I've studied it, all the mechanism, all the method. Now somebody gives me a bike and I have to ride it. And the first step I put on the bike, I fell down. I will fall down because I do not have the key. I do not know because I've never put it into application. So the thing here is that the password or the key here is putting into application what little knowledge, Dharma knowledge that you have. If you know how to recite Om Mani Padme Hum, recite Om Mani Padme Hum the way you know it. If you know how to meditate, do meditation. Whatever little you know, you do it. Don't long for other things. Oh, I know how to do Om Mani Padme Hum, but I want to know that one. Oh, that I know, I want to do other thing. I want to know this one. This is more or less spiritual craving. You know what I mean? This is attachment to spiritual practices. So in a sense, it is not a good thing. Do what you know, do what you can do best. Do that thing properly. And then when you become professional, when you become highly professed excellent in that field, then automatically you will outgrow from it. And then you can do, you do not have to crave for other practices. It will come naturally to you. There will be some sort of like an inner calling. And then you will know what next you have to do. You just don't sit there, do not do even your Om Mani Padme Hum or do not do your basic things, but want to know about all the high Dharma teachings. That is not right. That is Dharma attachment, Dharma craving. Craving is bad wherever it goes. If it's Dharma craving, it's bad. Whether it's craving towards worldly life, it's also bad. If you're craving for good things, that's bad. If you're craving for a bad thing, it's also bad. Right? If you're craving for bitter food, it's bad. If you're craving for sweet food, it's also bad. So can we have one more question? Then we will continue.
One more question. So from last week, yes, still. Rinpoche, how do we avoid the meaningless that are indicated in number 5, 11, and 14? 5, instructions are worthless if they do not mitigate the hindrance, just like medicines in the back of the physician not being used for a patient. So life is useless. After number 11, after having sufficiently studied and hearing about Dharma, if the mind does not change, the person concerned remains meaningless. Oh, I might have missed something. Number 14, to overlook the practical aspect of life because of the fast experience gained from tricks and not from search for the true nature of things are just like assuming brass to be gold. So life is useless.
So point number 5 and 11, they're actually of the same category. I just explained during today's session about the person carrying the medicine but not taking it. So this is, and I just explained it right to the answer it regarding the first question. So whatever knowledge you have, you must put into practice. You put into practice. In today's time, we have refrigerator, right? So we have food, we keep it in the fridge. So it has a longer life. But supposedly, if you do not have fridge, then whatever fresh food you get, you have to cook them, or you have to throw them out, or give it to somebody else because it's gonna get rotten. So similarly, that fridge is your mind, your mental, your memory, your mental retention capacity, the capacity to regain, to recall what you have learned. And if you put into practice, whatever you put into practice, it will stay in your mind. You will be able to recall it more clearly, and then you can always, even if you put it into practice all the time, whatever little practices, it will always come in handy. Even if you're not doing this practice particularly, then when the time comes, you will be able to remember what that practice is about, and it will come handy for you. So in that case, Dharma will provide security for your life, in a sense. Security meaning, if you are going through some hard time or whatever, if you always practice those things, then this will help you. Okay. So the key word here is application. For point number 5 and point number 11, application. Whatever you know, just put into practice. Point number 14, we are talking about the Dharma and the drama kind thing. So instead of putting more interest in the very nature of our mind, which is realizing the nature of our mind, recognizing our mind in its entirety, only then one will be liberated. But instead, one is so taken away, one is so drawn towards the drama, the ritualistic aspect. Somebody says, oh, if you do this and this and this and this and that complicated thing, then you will be, you will reach this. If you do this, then you will have special power to maybe, get rid of those people you do not like. If you do this practice, then you will be able to gather lots of money. So there are so many distractions in the spiritual sense as well. Sometimes they are somewhat necessary, because the Dharma practice is all about transforming our mind, and mind cannot be seen. It is not tangible. You cannot touch mind. You cannot smell mind. So in order to explain what mind is about, you have to tell people everything that is not the mind, and then this is something similar to the mind, right? The space, the sky, which is vast and has no boundary, mind is something like that. So you have to give examples, and you have to give a lot of, but that doesn't mean the sky is the mind. Sky is an example. Space is an example that is used to illustrate mind. What people mistake. So point number 14 is about mistaking the example as the real thing. The space was given as an example of the mind. It is not the mind, but usually the example is much more attractive, right? Space, it sounds so complicated, sophisticated, and then something, mind is, you know what I mean here. But when I say mind, nobody has any idea. Everybody has mind, but nobody has idea what mind is about. Mind looks like, mind is about. So space is given as an example of the mind, not the mind. And so this is what we are talking about. And point number 14, do not mistake the example as the real thing. Oh, okay.
Are we continuing with the lesson, or should we continue with the last question, Jayla?
Oh, okay. Do we have more questions? Like a lot of questions?
We have only one more question for today.
Okay, then. Okay, please go with the time, then we will cover the rest. Yeah, please.
I lost the last part that you used. Are we continue with the lesson today, or we are?
Okay, there's one more question you said, right?
Yes.
Okay, so please go on with the question, please.
Okay, so the last question is in regards to today's point number 5. How can we apply that for ordinary people like us? For example, in today's world, if we are not ambitious, our chances of success in career will diminish. Even if we don't want to be ambitious, the people around us sometimes can be manipulative and compete with the situation and eventually push us out. How can we defend our position without being ambitious? Thank you, Rinpoche. Right. I'll read the point number 5 today. It's while observing the moral conduct thoroughly. To be highly ambitious is a prohibition to the practitioner of Dharma. Cảm ơn thầy. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Oh yeah. So as I said, having selfish ambitions. That's what that's the word I used. So ambition in general, I said that earlier. Having selfish ambition is not good, but you can have unselfish ambition. Ambitions for I said it earlier. Ambition for world peace, right? Being ambitious for world peace, being ambitious for to end the hunger in the world, this kind of thing. Being ambitious, that is a good thing. If you're ambitious about eradicating hunger, eradicating sicknesses, things like that, that is a good thing. If you are ambitious about getting position for yourself, right? And not in the sense that, oh, I will become the head of this monastery and then I will help more and more people. That is a good thing. But I want to become the abbot of that monastery, having the ambition to become the abbot or head of this and that institution. So then I will have more money. I will have more influence, and more people will like me. That kind of thing. That is something to be shunned. That is something, some sort of an embarrassment for people. So as I said, as the question, as you asked, if you have to be ambitious in general is not bad. You need to, in life, you need to have an ambition. You need to, become a doctor, become a merchant, have your work, have kids. So you have your ambitions, varying levels of ambition. You have different kind of ambition. Different people have different ambition due to the fact they are born, they are brought up in different situations and different culture. So people have different ambitions, and that should be respected. And this the Dharma book, today's lesson is not about not having any ambition at all. So we are referring to highly selfish ambitions here. So in regards to becoming, let's say, becoming an abbot in the sense of serving others, so there are this thing called, when we generate the bodhicitta, there are 3 types of generating the bodhicitta. The generating bodhicitta like a king, generating bodhicitta like a boatsman, boat captain. Generating bodhicitta, generating bodhicitta as a king, generating bodhicitta as a captain or a boatsman, and generating bodhicitta as a shepherd. So what these people, whenever you generate bodhicitta, you generate bodhicitta through these 3 streams. Generating bodhicitta like a king is the king, the prince has this view that has the wish to become a king. Once he becomes the king, he has all the power, so he will serve the people. He will look after their subject, his kingdom. He will deprive poverty and the misery of all the subject in his country. But in order to do that, as a prince, he cannot do. But as a king, he can overrule all the ministers, and then he can do that. So that is the king-like bodhicitta. Then there is the captain-like bodhicitta. So a captain of a ship, the passenger and the captain, they both sit on the same ship. They go from one destination to the other destination on the same ship. So they all go on the same pace, right? Bodhicitta, as you know, is the desire to become the wish to become enlightened for the sake of all sentient beings. So king-like bodhicitta is, I will become Buddha first and then serve others. Okay. Captain is, I will become Buddha with all the sentient beings together. Captain and the passenger all together. And shepherd, the shepherd is always at the back. The sheep go in the front. So they say, until all the sentient beings are liberated, I cannot become a Buddha. I do not want to become a Buddha. I will remain as a bodhicitta, and then let all the sentient beings become Buddha first, and then I will become the Buddha. So that is sheep herd like Buddha, bodhicitta. So in this regard, the first one, which is the king-like bodhicitta, or generation of bodhicitta like the king, it's called. The person wants to become the Buddha first, not because I become a Buddha, then I enjoy and forget about everyone else, but become a Buddha so that I have more power, all the power that I need to help sentient beings. So this is ambition, but not selfish ambition, unselfish ambition. So these three are usually regarded as the bodhicittas generated by Chenrezig, Avalokiteshvara, Manjushri, Jambayang, and Chanodorji, Vajrapani. Manjushri generated the king-like bodhicitta. Avalokiteshvara generated the sheep herd-like bodhicitta. So Avalokiteshvara is the manifestation of compassion. So his compassion is so strong, his desire to alleviate the suffering of sentient beings is so strong that he is letting go. He is able to let go of his wish to become a Buddha, let others become Buddha first, and then he become Buddha at last. But that is not a feasible thing. And Vajrapani is the captain. A captain is very powerful, and he takes himself and the passenger all together to the shore. But the Manjushri is the wisest, most intelligent one. So his way of generating bodhicitta is through becoming a Buddha first. He himself becomes the Buddha first, and then he has all the power to help sentient beings, right? So he has, of the three, Manjushri is the most ambitious. And of the three, it is said that only the ambition of the first Buddha, the first kind, the king-like bodhicitta, which is generated by Manjushri, only that wish manifested. Avalokiteshvara's wish did not materialize, did not come true, right? We are still in samsara. and Vajrapani also not come true, because he is already in heaven. He is already become a Buddha, but we are still stuck here. So passenger and captain not together, right? Only Manjushri's wishes come true. So we say that even if you are a great bodhisattva, even if you are a great bodhisattva, there are many wishes of yours which will not materialize. And this is an example. Oh yeah, thank you. Now, do we have more questions? Yan? Miss Yan?
No, Rinpoche. No, that's
okay.
That was yeah.
Okay. So, so most of today's topics are actually quite repetitive of last week's as well as today's. And so we will not go through all of them. Not exactly repetitive, but seemingly repetitive, so you get the idea. Anyway, but I want to cover point number 17 and 18, the last two, which I think is very useful for our day-to-day life, and I want to say a few words regarding those two. But before we do that, I want to go back to point number 6. I was expecting some questions, but no questions anyway. So let me just some story. I remember some story, so let me share the story. Having good spiritual experiences, but not being able to subdue the mind is an embarrassment, right? So I will share some story regarding that. So there are actually two different stories. Let me tell you one thing, and then maybe if we have time, we will go to another one. So the thing is, they're used to back in Tibet, right? So this is in regard to the practice of Yamantaka. So Yamantaka practice is Yamantaka is a wrathful deity. Actually, is the manifestation of Buddha Manjushri. I think we did the Yamantaka transmission of the Yamantaka mantra a little earlier. So Yamantaka, Yama means god of death. Yama is the king of death, and Yamantaka is actually the god of the king of death. In other words, what it means is Yamantaka is the one who rules over death. So in other words, in this regard, Yamantaka is those who practice Yamantaka, they have a very long life because you are actually sort of like obstructing the play of Yama, death. Anyway, so we will not go into much detail regarding that. So the point here is that Yamantaka is manifestation of Manjushri, which is the Buddha of wisdom. So people practice Manjushri, people practice Yamantaka in order to gain wisdom, a strong, very swift wisdom, very deep wisdom, profound wisdom, and very wide wisdom. Wide wisdom, very highly knowledgeable. Deep, profound wisdom, not just knowledgeable, but becoming an authority on that knowledge, right? And also very swift. It is not something that you have to refer to a book. Oh yeah, I think I saw that in a book. Let me get the book and then explain to you. No, you can explain whatever you have read from that book. You can recall it from your memory. So swift memory, profound memory, and wide range of memory, right? Or you can call it wide range of knowledge, wide range of wisdom. So this extensive wisdom, profound wisdom, and swift wisdom, we call it. Manjushri, the Yamantaka is a very Yamantaka is a very highly effective practice for doing that. Now, in this regard, there are many people who practice the Yamantaka, right? And for various reasons, as I said, people have different ambitions, right? To get money, to become good in Dharma practice, to have a good name, many different ambitions are there. So what happened was that there was a okay, maybe this is So I'm going to tell a story about Yamantaka. Yeah, Yamantaka practitioner, right? So the thing is, as a Dharma practitioner, the wish is to become the Buddha. In order to become Buddha, you need to perfect your wisdom. You know, you need to you need to sharpen your wisdom, and that cannot be done within 1 year or 2 years, and even in one lifetime, it's very difficult. So therefore, we need to extend our life, and so therefore, when we do the Yamantaka practice, automatically, even though that is not the main goal, Yamantaka is not the god of longevity, right? So we do not practice Yamantaka for longevity, but when we do Yamantaka practice in order to become Buddha, then our life is automatically extended as a byproduct. Because in order to become a Buddha, you need to perfect your sharpen your wisdom. It cannot be done in a short time, so you need a longer time, and so therefore, you need to have a long time. So that is why some people, again, mistakenly, this is in regard similar to point number 14. Somebody just asked earlier, last week's point number 14. Sticking with the theatrics, being distracted by all these rituals, not sticking with the actual practice. Actual practice of Yamantaka is to realize wisdom. But then, in order to realize wisdom, you have long life as a byproduct. And then people do this practice in order to have long life. That is another mistake. Anyway, so I'm going off the grid. So that's the story I'm going to tell you about. So this happened, I think, about 300 years around that time. So it's 5 generations, before that. So what happened was in a village in Tibet. So there was lots of some demon were ravaging the villages, destroying their villages, killing people, and terrifying people, and so on and so forth. And so people are really terrorized by that, and then they seek help from many different lamas. And many different lamas came, and nobody can defeat him, that demon. And then there was a great master. I forgot his name though. So that great master, he came through, and So, I mean, many great masters came, right? And then this was one of those great masters, and he came, and when he was a great master practitioner, tantric practitioner as well. And then he tried to, most of the time people try to fight with that demon, they just get terrorized and they run away. And so this great master came, and when he first meet the demon, he was terrorized as well, because that demon is no ordinary demon. That demon is actually Yamantaka. And he was first very, very, very afraid, very scared, very terrorized, because this is Yamantaka. So, there's something must be really wrong with the village, or maybe he is doing it wrong, because, Yamantaka, one thing you cannot fight with Yamantaka, because Yamantaka is a Buddha. And second thing is Yamantaka will not harm people, right? So the second doubt actually made him think, okay, Yamantaka will not harm people. This Yamantaka is actually harming people. So what is, what is the secret behind this Yamantaka? And then instead of fighting up front with that Yamantaka, is a very big, massive, Yamantaka, maybe you have seen the image. So very big Yamantaka, like maybe 4 or 5 buildings size, 4 or 5 floors size. So very big one. So instead of fighting it from the front, this Lama actually took around, went around the Yamantaka. And when he went around, he saw from behind, even though in the front that Yamantaka has all the appearance of the Yamantaka, very strong, very fierce, with blood and all this thing very strong. But from behind, it's all hollow, empty. And this made him think, because Yamantaka is whole, right? Yamantaka is not half, Yamantaka is not hollow, Yamantaka is full. And then this made him think. And then he, with his clairvoyance, he realized that this was not, of course, this is not Yamantaka himself, but he was that person, that demon. That demon was a Yamantaka practitioner in his previous life. And he was such a great, great practitioner. Now, he was a great practitioner of the Yamantaka lineage. And he was very good with the visualization of the Yamantaka. So good that he can manifest his internal vision into an external physicality. So his vision can actually materialize in front of people, and people can see what he is visualizing. So that visualization is, sort of like a projected, like a movie projector, right? And people see the image, and people are terrified. And then, if he is a Yamantaka practitioner, then why would he harm people? Why would he do that? Then the Lama, went into more deeper meditation, and then with clairvoyance, he found out that in his previous life, that demon, who was born as a demon now, was actually in his previous life a very good, highly professional Yamantaka practitioner. But his main practice was to do Yamantaka practice only, meaning we have this called thing in Tibetan, say, Nangcho and Tongkhor, appearance and emptiness. The method and the compassion thing, So he was the method and the wisdom thing. So he was totally working on the wisdom aspect, or in other words, the visualization aspect, the realistic aspect, the aesthetics, not the essence. The essence is compassion, bodhicitta. So he never worked on compassion and bodhicitta. He thought if he visualized the Yamantaka perfectly, and then he would become the Yamantaka, right? I mean, he has a good, I think he had a bad teacher, I guess, right? He has he has the potential to become a great practitioner, Dharma practitioner, but instead he become a sort of a singular Yamantaka practitioner. Yamantaka practice. So, it's like one wing, you need 2 wings to fly. So compassion and wisdom. So the wisdom aspect is there, the compassion aspect is missing. And so therefore he become, his visualization is so good. So he never has any sort of, he never practiced on compassion and bodhicitta and other things like that. And Yamantaka, as you all know, is a wrathful, very wrathful, terrorizing, He's also called, in Tibetan, it's called Jigje, which means terrorizer. And Yamantaka, as I said, Yama is the god of death, right? And Taka means slayer, killer. So he is the one who kills the god of death. In other words, he is the one who gets rid of death. So he is a very terrorizing appearance. And when you have no practice at all in the compassion side, but highly professed in the, you're always visualizing wrathful, angry-looking person, a bull with, terrorizing horns and snorting and all that. This actually has a very negative impact on you. And when you die, whatever last thought you have at the very last moment, this has a huge impact. So if you are a Yamantaka practitioner for your whole life without any hint of bodhicitta or compassion side, then this is the last thing you are thinking of, terrorizing people. So because of that, he was born as a terrorizer, born as a demon, and he was terrorizing people. So what the Lama did was, now he knew that he is not Yamantaka, right? So the Lama started calling, first, giving some food, maybe some meat and other things. And then eventually the demon comes to the Lama, and the Lama start giving talks on compassion, bodhicitta, loving kindness, all these aspects, the method aspect. And gradually, the spirit, the demon, become to calm down, cool down, right? It took some time, not in one day, right? Few months, and then gradually he calmed down, and then he died, and then he was born. I think he died, and then he was born in the hell realm, and then after some time he came back to human life. So that is the story. So this is what we are talking about. You have very good, the point number 6, right? You have very good spiritual experience. So this is one aspect, one example I give. This practitioner has a very good spiritual experience. So many people, there are many people I meet when I travel. People say, oh, I have such a good dream I had very vivid dream of Manjushri or Tara coming into me and blessing me and all this and that. And this person, this practitioner actually is able to manifest what he is visualizing to others, to project what he is imagining. We cannot do that, right? What we are thinking, we think. We can describe it with our words, but we cannot manifest what our thoughts are. We cannot project it. But this guy is actually able to project what his vision is to others. Such vivid visions. And that is his outcome. So, when we practice medicine Buddha or whatever, when we go into the aesthetics aspect so much, the ritualistic aspect so much, we can become very good at it. We can recite the mantra very fast. Some people think that that's a good thing, right? Like, oh, I can do Omara Bhajanadi, some people say, when we were kids, we were told to do that. And then they think, even when they grow up, that's a good thing. Like when we can recite Omara Bhajanadi in one breath, right? Omara Bhajanadi, that's a good thing. But if you think this is, if you take pride in being able to do that, that is the aesthetic part, not the essential part. So aesthetics is important. How you look is important. But what you are is more important than how you look. If you forget what you are and focus on how you look, then you become hollow, empty inside. Just like that Yamantaka, that demon who is projecting the Yamantaka. So it's like a projector, movie projector. It seems like when there's a movie projector comes on the theater, there's a lot of action, right? People fighting, people enjoying life, whatever. But if you put put your hand between the projector and the screen, everything ceases to. It is not there. It is not there. So if you forget the essential and focus on the aesthetics, then it is an embarrassment for a Dharma practitioner. So this is where point number 6 comes in. Let me just read it from here. Having good experience and having realized the supreme knowledge thoroughly, not able to control one's own mind, is a prohibition for the practitioner of the Dharma. Oh yeah. Oh, so okay. Let's quickly go over point number 17 and 18. So just I want to just summarize things. 17 is that unable to live in solitude, right? And also unable to live with company. And 18 is unable, similar, anxious and worried when you are happy, anxious when you're happy, anxious when you're unhappy, and worried when you're happy, I guess. When you, so it's quite similar here. So the thing is, what I'm trying to tell here is that in whatever situation or circumstances you are in, you need to find the goodness within that. And I mean, it's not an easy thing, but that is what a spiritual practitioner should aspire, because only then you will be able to enjoy, right? Life is not about enjoying per se, because there are more important goals there. Supposedly, you are going on a bus ride or bus journey or a train ride, a flight, whatever. You're going on a journey, right? Maybe it's a long journey to for 2 days, right? 14 hours, long journey. The key is to get from point A to point B. That is your main goal, right? But at the same time, it's a long journey. So within that bus ride, within that train ride, you need to eat. You need to stop for restroom. You need to do a lot of other things. They are not the main things, but if you do not do those things, then you will suffer when you reach point B. If you hold your bladder for 14 hours, it's going to be disastrous. You will end up in hospital. So you will need to stop for restroom break. But restroom break is not the biggest thing, not the biggest, not the biggest thing here. Similarly, enjoying life is very important. Very, very important. When you are happy, be happy. When there are happy occasions, be happy, mingle with that. Everybody has problem. Everybody. Nobody is free from problem. Children have problem. Elderly people have problem. Everybody has problem. So not just you, not just me. So when there are occasions to be happy, be happy. When there are occasions to be sad, be sad. Yeah, be sad when somebody is sick in your family, when somebody is dying. Of course, you have to be sick. You be sick, you care for them, you look after them, but don't, get stuck with that. Don't get stuck with that. That is where, attachment comes in. Look after your loved ones, dear ones, people who are in need. You care for them. When you care for people who is suffering, immediately you feel, you are in that sort of suffering state. And that is something you have to take as well. You take the good things and the bad things both, right? So when good things comes, enjoy that. Don't say like, okay, how long is this good thing gonna last? When you have lots of money, don't think like, okay, I have so much money, but how am I gonna make this much money to that much money? Or how, I mean, you can have long-term plans, just like the long journey, but whatever you have, enjoy that. I'm not saying do not make more money. If you have lots of money, you can make more money, but enjoy the money that you already have in your hand, right? So that is basically what we are saying here. Point number 17 and 18. When you are with people, enjoy the company. When you are by yourself, enjoy the solitude. Meditate, write a book, do something productive. When you are with other people, learn lesson, learn story, things like that. Learn story from them. We read books, right? History books, biographies. Biographies are story of people. When you meet a person and listen to them, you are actually reading the person as a book. You see? So, when you are with people, enjoy the company. When you are by yourself, enjoy the solitude. When you have good things, and the point number 17. Then point number 18, when good things comes, enjoy that, take that, just soak yourself in that happiness, right? When the sun is shining, dry your clothes, go out there, get the vitamins and all that. When it's raining, just watch the rain drops, just so there's one wonderful thing. Master Thich Nhat Hanh, he apparently, I think he's very sick, so please pray for his, so he said there was a book that he wrote. I think it's very long time back. It's called, the title of the book is Present Moment, Wonderful Moment. Present Moment, Wonderful Moment. It's a very good book. I recommend that. It's a very thin booklet, sort of, and it has like instructions on everyday thing from morning to night, moment by moment. Very good book. Present moment, wonderful moment. Yeah. So this is what I want to tell you about point number 17 and 18. Thank you. Sorry, it went a little bit too long. Oh yeah, thank you so much. And so let's dedicate today's merits that we have gathered for the benefit of all sentient beings, and especially, as I said, Master Thich Nhat Hanh. He's very sick, and also I think he has stopped taking physical food for the last 1 week, I guess. So please pray for him, and then pray for the long life of all the Dharma teachers, Dharma masters, and not just Dharma masters, but also people who are not Dharma teachers, but doing very good Dharma work, very good spiritual work, very good humanitarian work, very good work for the world peace and other things. But let's pray for all of them to have long life, have success in whatever endeavor that they're taking. And then also let's pray for, there are so many suffering going on, especially with the pandemic. People's life are upside down. And so the merit that we have gathered today, let's deposit all this merit for the benefit, invest that merit into fulfilling this wish. Thank you very much. And may you all have a good life, good week, and see you next week. And as I said earlier, be happy when there's, things to be happy. Enjoy the moment. Live in the present. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So do we have the Mixima slide, please? We will conclude with that. Mixima slide, please. Thank you. That is all. You have a good weekend. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.